Hello, family. I just wanted to hop on here because I want to give you a little mindset shift perspective, right? So if you wake up, oops, knocking things over. If you wake up and you're automatically going into something negative and, there's a bunch of stuff going on around you and you're just in a bad headspace, right? We all have those days, but it's all about your mindset. Right? That is something somebody doesn't, obviously this is for adults, right? Because as a kid, you're still trying to figure out what your mindset is. But as an adult, you are in a position to control your own mindset. You really are. And it's about, think about this. Negativity is not a default personality. It's a habit. Being negative is a habit. It could come from anywhere. It could come from anything. It could come from anywhere. It could come from your traumas. That's fine. But negativity is a habit. And habits are meant to be broken and changed, right? Because you can't just take away a habit and not put something there. So I want you to work on a few things today and every day going forward, right? I want you to work on shifting your mindset. So instead of saying, okay, the day is going to suck, or I got to go deal with this stupid meeting, or what am I going to do with my taxes? Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to make it sunshine and roses. There are going to be days that are just challenging. You can't change that, right? But what you can change and what you are in control of, because a lot of that you're not in control over. And that's the biggest thing that very often you have a hard time with your negativity, is because you have to release that control. You have to accept that you have to release that control. You have to, because you just can't change those things. But you can change your perspective. So if you find yourself doom scrolling, right? So doom scrolling is where you deep dive in people's comments and you're looking if it's a negative post. God, I can't even say the word because I don't like it. A negative post or something that you don't agree with, you immediately want to go down in all of that. And it isn't something that you are going to change overnight, of course. But I want you to, instead of looking at the day, and that's going to help with your gratitude journal. You guys know gratitude journal is a total jam every single day. If you don't have 10 minutes to have gratitude, that's your first place to start for your mindset shift. Like seriously, like you can't just say, okay, well, I just don't feel like doing it, or I'm not in a space. Okay, like I hear you. And obviously if you're sick or you can't get to it, that's fine. But you're going to have to get back on the horse. And you want to start your day with gratitude because it's going to give you a whole different perspective on the day. It really is. Because it's not just about, oh, I love my family and I'm grateful for them and my house and all this stuff. It's also, I'm grateful, like as I'm looking outside and it's a lot of wind because we're supposed to have a storm. I'm grateful that the trees are there. I'm grateful that it's windy. I'm grateful that I can look at it and just be reminded that, you know what? Even when things are tough, you're resistant, right? Because without wind, a tree's root doesn't form and then it just tumbles over. I mean, it's just a fact because it needs that. You need the adversity to make you strong. So when you go, okay, is there a lesson to learn from the day? And also keeping in mind that you can't change somebody else's mindset. You can't change somebody else's actions. You can't change somebody else's reasoning. You have to accept that because you get so focused on other people that you're not focusing on yourself. You have to focus on your own self-improvement and your own self-healing. You cannot heal from the outside in. And if you're looking at that and you're saying, these people make me feel, no, they don't. They create an action or verbiage and you attach your emotion to it, right? So you have to understand, yeah, there's going to be things, there's things that everybody is going to have in their headspace of, man, this really sucks. And then you have to readjust. Sit there, feel your feelings, double journal them, positive, negative journal. Put that out there. That's right. That gives you a place to process. You are allowed your feelings, but don't live there. So if you shift your mindset from, oh my gosh, I got to do this, to, okay, I'm going to do this. Not I got to. You got to change the I should, I have to, I need to. Now listen, we all use that vernacular. We're always going to continue to use that vernacular. But I just want you to keep in mind that your mindset, if you're going into it negative, will create more negative vibes. Energetically, you will never, and this is a fact, and like an energetic universal fact for the universe, you can't get positive stuff from a negative mind. It just doesn't work that way. You can't say you're positive in this area and then be negative over here. It is a practice and it is something you have to do every day, which is why I was like, let me hop on here, because then you can always save this video, go back to it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, the podcast, right? Here's the podcast. That's on every platform. I have my TikToks. I have all of those things. It's just really good to remind yourself because I could give you 875 tools, but if you're not going to use those tools, then they're just there, right? That's not real knowledge. So you have to understand that you have to want to feel like that shift, because it's not going to feel normal at first. You're going to be like, oh my God, it feels weird. Like, how do I start thinking positive? Well, baby steps, micro goals. I have a whole podcast, episode 37 on the podcast, micro goals. It's important that you understand you don't try to go into this wholeheartedly all at one time, because that's not going to serve your best and highest good. But when you catch yourself, here's a little homework. When you catch yourself with those negative thoughts, don't judge them. Don't overanalyze them. Stop. And number one, if they're negative about other people, you're going to have to check yourself on that, because stop focusing on them. Focus inward, because remember, you have to heal inside out. So number one. Number two, when something likes that, someone who does something in your mind, who does something to you, or they say something to you, or you feel like, oh my gosh, every time I'm around them, they're negative. Well, that's going to come with your boundaries, and that's going to come from self-love. So it's not a one and done, but until you get there, you can say, okay, this is not my issue. Somebody else's response or reflection or actions is not a reflection of me. So I want you to catch yourself anytime you go down a negative rabbit hole, or you catch yourself judging someone else. That's a big key, that you're not working on yourself, because everybody is allowed to have their own actions. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to align with them. You don't have to rock with them, but don't sit in judgment of them. Okay. So that's a really good space to start, I guess, or a place to start of doing your mindset shift, is be aware. You have to have awareness before you can change. Be aware and go, oh my God, I am really negative. Like, why am I being so negative? It doesn't matter the why at this moment. Right now, it's just about just being aware of it. And then we'll go from there, because a mindset shift is to realize every day isn't good, but there is something good in every single day. That's because you're standing this side of the soil. You're not 6 foot below. So always remember, there's always that. Even in the darkest times where you feel like sometimes existing may not be that much of a thing, but I promise you it is. Okay. So it's baby steps. So good. So remember, mindset is always within your control. When you catch yourself being negative, boop, shift that over by saying, okay, what would be the opposite of this? And it's a practice, because you're essentially trying to rewrite a habit, but negativity is merely a habit.